Welcome to this demonstration of Proteus WCM. Proteus WCM is the CMMS solution from Eagle Technology that addresses all of your needs for world-class manufacturing. There are two ways users can interact with Proteus WCM. The first is to be able to report on service requests, or what we call tags. This does not require a login into the system. It enables the user to select one of three different kinds of tags to report on safety, health, environment issues, maintenance issues, and operator issues. To report a problem, select the appropriate option, and via drop-downs, select the area of the factory floor that has the problem. You can identify yourself, again, via drop-downs, identify the priority that this job requires, the shift, and the nature of the problem. Here, we have a problem with a factory equipment that has a sealing failure. This has resulted in a spillage on the floor. Once the problem has been identified fully, the tag can be submitted. This is automatically routed to the planner. The planner can make one of several decisions. He can accept the service request and convert it into a work order. He can reject the service request on grounds that it may have already been reported by somebody else, or that the problem is not a serious one and can be taken care of in a scheduled maintenance. In either case, the person reporting the service request is automatically notified on the status and the fact that it's being worked on. When you log into the system via an assigned username and password, this is what you will see. At first glance, essential information relevant to you, such as unscheduled versus scheduled work orders, current work orders which have been completed and those which are overdue, a weekly plan or a bi-weekly plan as the case may be, the ability to view messages sent from other users of the system, and the work orders that have been assigned to you. There's also a quick link capability through which you can create work orders, create emergency work orders, requisitions, assets, and other items of information. Across the top, you have all the main modules presented, such as assets, inventory, personnel, key providers like contractors and vendors, interface with purchasing, reports, the ability to work with service requests and work orders, company information, user rights and roles, KPIs, and settings. This is the login screen for the administrator, so you can see a lot of information is available. Most users of the system will only be able to view items that are assigned to them and are available for their individual use. To create an emergency work order, you can do that via quick links. Select EWO as the option. And just like creating a tag, you can identify the factory, area, line, specific machine, part of the machine, and the individual part. You can also associate the stock room where the part can be obtained from. The system has the ability to handle multiple stock rooms and an indicative wait time. And a work order is created based on the details of the EWO. Work with assets, select the option assets, and here you have a listing of all of the assets on the factory floor. On the left hand side is the hierarchy of the assets. So you can drill down to household products, and within household products, you have the various machines that make up this line. For a given asset, if you select Edit, you can look at all of the information that you wish to capture that describes this asset best, such as the asset number, the name, description, tag, manufacturer information, capacities, runtime information, etc. You can also capture a list of tools that are needed to service this asset, any associated information such as drawings, schematics, pictures, videos, etc. And you can also specify employees who are best equipped to service this asset. For every asset, you can also associate a bill of material. Here we have all of the parts that make up this asset. And for every part, you can describe it with part number, name, and other information. You also have the ability to capture a runtime limit for every part. This is the maximum number of cycles that the part can be taken through before a mandatory replacement is warranted. And this can be compared with the current runtime information that is coming from the asset runtime. Also, you can look at when was the last time this component was replaced. For every asset, you can also access the associated machine ledger. This is indicated by the icon L on the top bar. When you click this icon, it brings up the machine ledger. The machine ledger is made up of a two-part screen. The first part, you can look at the line, the machine, and all of the parts that make up the bill of material. For every part, you have the details of the part, such as the part number, a picture, the storeroom location, vendor name, and any inventory classification. You can also capture information related to PM, AM, quality, FI. On the right hand side, there is an arrow, and when you click that, you go to the second screen where you can capture the breakdown root causes, and there is a diagrammatic representation of the kind of work that needs to be carried out. Yellow for planned maintenance, black for planned maintenance executed, red for breakdown, and blue for unplanned extra maintenance. Across the right, you will see the 52 weeks of the year, and the current week is indicated in a different color. Against the rows, you will be able to see the kind of work that has to be carried out or that has been carried out on a given component. So here we have a breakdown maintenance. This is an emergency work order. And if you go into the work order details, it brings up all of the data necessary to carry out the work order and all of the information that you need to record as you complete the work order. So in the details tab, you will see the basic details of the work order description, activation date, required date, if a contractor is involved, the name of the contractor, total time, estimated downtime, and so on. You're also able to capture other details such as the part waiting time, initial wait time, notification, startup, repair time, etc. if it is an EWO. Other tabs are task and labor, where you can capture the specific tasks that need to be performed in this work order. There is a comprehensive task library, and you can keep details of all of the tasks that you need to carry out and pick the relevant tasks and associate with the work order. The parts tab keeps a detail of all of the parts that are needed for the execution of this work order. Typically, the parts will come from the stock room and in accordance with the bill of material. Tools will indicate what tools need to be taken from the tool crib in order to perform this work order. Causes are the possible causes of failure of a part. Email details the individuals that need to be notified when the work order is initiated or when the work order is completed. Attachments are all of the reference document you need to provide to the technician in order to carry out the work. So this could be drawings, videos, images, schematics, anything that is needed by the technician. And when the work is completed, you have the ability to capture countermeasures, preventive action, replication action if it is an EWO. You also can have details of further inspection that may be needed. Machine history gives you the capability to view the history of work carried out on any machine. So here we have a calendar year, and as you can see in October, week 4, these were the works carried out on that machine. And you have a number of work orders, and you can go into any work order, and like machine ledger, you can view the details of that work order. Inventory module allows you to view and modify all parts stored on the factory floor, organize parts into stock rooms, define bill of materials that are used by different assets, manage all of the tools in use in the floor, be able to move parts from one stock room to another, and to view the transaction and move history. This is a repository of all parts. For every part, you have the ability to capture details of the part, such as part name, part description, stock class, category, shelf life, etc. Organize parts into stock rooms. View the work orders that these parts are referenced in. Be able to view the asset history and associate parts with different kinds of attachments, such as installation instructions, etc. Stockroom allows you to view the stockroom and understand which parts are available in the stockroom. So if you were to edit the stockroom or view the stockroom, here you will have the details of the stockroom, where it is, the location. So here it is in the household factory, and you can look at all of the parts in the stockroom with the associated quantity of on hand, the reorder levels, etc. For every stock part, for example, here, you can look at the details such as quantity on hand, quantity allocated, quantity available, and so on. We also can look at details of the vendor. You may have more than one vendor able to supply the part, and any additional information in the form of attachments. The bill of material is a library of all bills of material that is kept in the system. It is quite possible that you may have more than one asset that has the same bill of material, so you don't have to recreate the bill of material each time. You can pull it from the library of bill of material and associate that with the asset. Tools is a repository of all tools that is maintained in the tool room or the tool crib, and these are the tools typically checked out by technicians when they need to perform any kind of repair on the asset. Allows you to keep details of all of the employees in the system and any associated labor crafts. So for instance, under the employee section, you have a list of all the employees, details of the employee, such as the employee number, name, picture, and other information such as contact number, email address, and so on. Employees also would typically have labor crafts that are assigned to them. These are the skill levels of the employee, which would be used to schedule work and assign work to the individual. So again, the labor crafts can be defined, which I will show you how it's done. And the supervisor to whom the employee would report to, any non-working days for the employee, any attachments such as certification documents, training documents, etc., and working hours. Working hours will come from the shift to which the employee has been assigned to. Here he's on a day shift, which is from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and he may only be working Mondays through Fridays. So once this is set up for the employee, then work when it's assigned, you will know exactly who is available and when the individual is able to perform the work. Labor crafts are the specific skill levels. So you can define the skill of the individual and associate that with any cost. Now you might have a standard cost, you might have an overtime cost, that could be a weekend cost. So those costs can be associated with different skill levels. This module allows you to manage all information related to contractors and vendors. Contractors are like employees, except that they are third party and carry out work just like employees. They would have details, email, contact number, and so on. They would have labor crafts that are their skill levels. We will be able to see which work orders where contractors are used, and information relevant to the contractor, such as certification level, insurance document, etc. Vendors are the companies providing parts or assets to the company. Vendors are linked to parts in the inventory, and when parts go below a certain level, you know which vendors to activate. The purchasing module allows you to generate requisitions for new parts. So when you click on this icon, you will be able to see all requisitions made. When stock levels are low for certain parts, you are able to generate requisitions. So requisitions can be for new parts, and parts can be either from stockroom or parts which are non-stockroom. In other words, parts specially ordered from a vendor for the purpose of maintenance work. Requisitions could also be for for assets, and you're able to view the cost of requisition for parts and assets, details of shipping, billing, email notification, any attachments needed, like to better describe the part or the asset, and approvals required. Typically, requisitions are made in the CMMS system and transferred to the purchasing system within the client organization. It could be Ariba or SAP. All tags reported are captured in the module called service requests. And this is where the planner can make a decision to accept or reject a service request or tag. So for example, this is an incoming tag. The planner can view the tag. He understands that this is a seal that is broken, that is leakage on the floor. He can look at other information such as, is there an AM step we need to look at? Is there an involvement of a technician in a day shift or a night shift? He can make all these changes. He can also assign it to an employee, look at a defined task that needs to be carried out, and if everything is okay, he can proceed to accept. If he accepts, a notification goes out to the creator of the tag indicating that the job has been accepted and a work order is going to get carried out. On the other hand, if it is a rejection, likewise a rejection notification can be sent out to the person reporting, indicating why the work cannot be accepted. The work order module is where you can look at all work orders that have been created, manage the progress of the work order until closure and work order fully completed. Work orders can be demand maintenance work orders, either coming in as tags, converted into service requests, and accepted by the planner to become a work order. Or it could be in the form of emergency work orders that have to be carried out. Work orders can also be preventive in nature, coming in from machine runtimes and scheduled based on runtime intervals. This is a list of all of the work orders that are current, and for every work order you can go in and view the details of the work order. And like before, we are able to see the details, the tasks and that need to be performed, and the labor that has been identified, parts that are required for the performance of this work order, likewise tools, possible causes of failure, any email notifications that need to be sent out, supporting attachments, and in the case of emergency work order, countermeasures, preventive action, and replication action. Work orders can also be generated from a work order master. So for instance, if a work order has to be carried out every month as part of an inspection, you can take a template of the work order, which will be something like this: the details of the work order, what tools and what tasks and labor has to be deployed, what parts, what tools, email notification and attachment. And you can create a cycle. So here, this work order has to be performed every 1000 runtime units. Likewise, this work order may be an inspection that need to be carried out monthly and performed on the last Monday of the month. So this is an example of a scheduled work order. In the event of runtime generated work order, actual runtime information is captured either by integration with PLCs or input by the technician, and based on this runtime information, work orders will be scheduled. And when the work order is scheduled, all components that need to be replaced during the performance of the work order will be triggered. You have the ability to look at the labor load by employee within the planner module. So this is an example of a labor load of technicians every day for the next 2 weeks. Here the green indicates free time and the red indicates work time, or the work that has been assigned to the individual. So if you bring up an individual, like in this case Alejandro, you are able to see the work orders that have been assigned to him. It is quite possible that some individuals may have more work than available time. If so, work can be reassigned to another individual by simply dragging and dropping it against that person's name. So in this case, work has been assigned from Alejandro to David. And when you click on David's image, you will see the work has been assigned to him. The labor planner provides you the capability to view at a glance all of the technicians and engineers, their craft, available hours, non-working days, the shifts that they are on, and so on. And this can be drilled, you can drill down to specific facilities or specific locations within the facility. The calendar capability allows you to view at a snapshot the different works that have to be carried out in different facilities by location, by individual, by asset type, or by work coordinator. And in each of those days, if you see work that has been scheduled, you can click on it and you can get more details. For you to manage multiple shifts and complex shift patterns. So for example, in a factory, you may have a day shift or a night shift. And for each shift, you can identify the people on the shift. So here the day shift is from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can also define non-production hours for the shift. And you can associate the shift with different facilities at your location. You can also define other shifts. So for example, you may wish to have an office shift for all, for all your factories. And this office shift may start from maybe 8 o'clock until 5 p.m. 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And this could be from Mondays through Fridays. So you have the ability to have multiple shift patterns, and there's no limit to the number of shift patterns that you can have. Proteus WCM has a comprehensive reporting capability. In addition to a large number of standard reports, you can also create your own custom reports using Crystal reports, or Eagle Technology can assist you in building these reports. So for example, if you wish to select a list of parts in the stockroom, first it gives you the information on screen, and from the data that is on screen, you can export it into an Excel spreadsheet or work with it in any way you choose to. Alternately, you can also select records from the screen display and produce a report. So here we have over 5,000 parts in the stock room, and you're able to see the part number, part name, quantity on hand, or any other field you would like to display the report using. You also have the ability to produce a number of KPI reports, which are presented in a graphical fashion. So here you have the mean time between failure graph. So if you select a period, say 3 years history, you're able to see the mean time between failure of different assets. The administrator has a number of capability within his purview. He has the ability to define roles under which users can log into the system. For example, he may have roles for a technician at the HPC factory, or a technician that may be common to both HPC and the T factory. Based on these roles, rights are enabled or capability is disabled. Likewise, he is able to define user rights. So as user login accounts are created, these users will have the ability to uh, work under one or more of these roles. The administrator also has the ability to define company-wide information such as the name of the company, the telephone number, the fax number, and so on. The ability to define cost centers. So for instance, for the HPC, this is the cost center for the year where you can define budgets for labor, material, and as works are carried out, the work order will capture the material cost, the labor cost, and this can be compared with budgets to generate budget versus actual reports. Likewise, the administrator has the ability to define all of the facilities, such as the HPC factory and the locations and the lines within the factory. So within the HPC factory, you have lines 31, 32, and against this structure, you define the assets. This WCM has an extensive language support capability. It not only supports more than 20 languages out of the box, but you also have the ability to define your own language of choice used in the country. You also have the ability to pretty much change all terminology in the system to be better aligned with the usage of terminology within your facility. So under the language setting, we have the ability to translate into any language of your choice. So it supports out of the box Arabic, Chinese, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, Hebrew. You have a whole host of languages that we support. So for instance, if a user in Italy were to log into the system, he would see everything in Italian. And of course, the data is what you put in. So if you type the data in English, it will be in English. If you type it in Italian, it will be in Italian. Thank you very much for attending this demonstration of Proteus WCM. I hope it has been a useful introduction to the product. If you have any questions, do contact us and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Thank you very much.